and welcome to FinextraTV. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly calling into our virtual studio now to discuss digital marketplaces is Dr. Matthaeus Sielecki, Cash Management, Structuring Americas at Deutsche Bank. Matthaeus, thank you very much for calling, and it's great to have you on.
Hi, Hannah. Thanks for having me.
Really good to have you on, and this is a really interesting topic, and I want to give our audience some background because there is no doubt that we have entered a customer-centric era encouraged by digital transformation across the payments and banking landscape. So tell us, what have been the key drivers that have got us up to this point, and how do you see the landscape today? Let's start there.
Yeah, so when we kind of look what has happened over the last 2 or 3 years, right, we see that after the pandemic, certain trends have accelerated, right? And something that existed before, that businesses moved more and more of their business online, right, and build their digital business models. But we also said that we literally jumped ahead by 5 years on this trend, that the share of business that now moves online is already kind of where, we wouldn't have expected it in 5 years, and it will never go back to where it was, right? And we also see that the demographics are changing and accelerating this trend. We see that new geographies are going online, and also new business models such as subscription marketplaces are starting to really lift off across different sectors. Talking about different sectors is like kind of a second big trend we see, that the largest companies in the world are now starting to adopt the same technologies that startups are using to scale quickly and to start moving their business from business to direct to customer. And we see this across different industries. We see it in the manufacturing industry, where they're moving from a product-centric to a super client-centric model, using software as a differentiator, which is sold then digitally. We see this in the mobility service space, where you have electric cars and charging infrastructure being built. We see this in the digital health space. So across different sectors that have not been online. And lastly, we believe that in the not too distant future, nearly every company will become a kind of fintech. They will start making revenue and a significant proportion of their revenue through embedding financial services in their online business. And quoting here Bain Capital, that predicts that embedded financial market is going to lead up to $3 trillion by the end of the decade. Gives you a feeling where the industry is going. And last but not least, moving things online and digital is a great way also for corporates to streamline operations and also reduce costs.
That's right, some really big shifts there. Thank you very much for bringing us up to date. So from that then, what are the needs of marketplaces, but also their buyers and their sellers? What about that?
So let's start with the buyers, right? So buyers always look for convenience. They look for the convenience by the time they search for a product, right? We know already today that if customers look for products, they rather look first on Amazon before they look on Google, right? So the search needs to be simple. The choice of the products needs to be there, and a lot of customers are starting, also corporate customers, starting to switch to B2B marketplaces as an complementing their procurement, right? So as an easier way to get access to a lot of other vendors through one central marketplace. And of course, they're looking into a very easy and a convenient way to pay, right? Having a great checkout experience is important. And here it's where, trust is important. If you source and you buy things online from different countries, cross-border, that's where customers prefer to go to a central platform that has that trust and they can entrust. And they also know that they're getting the genuine products on those marketplaces. If you look at the sellers, similar approach, right? They also look for convenience in being, onboarded quickly on these marketplaces, have fast access to new markets and to new client segments, but also receiving their money quickly, right? And having a very convenient way to manage any type of, disputes that come with such an online business. And for marketplaces, the strategy of a marketplace is always, how can I leverage my brand and my loyal customer base and the perception of the high quality goods that I'm selling there to actually create more value for them. And if you do this it's pretty straightforward if you are running just a web shop. However, if you're running a marketplace, that comes with a lot more responsibilities and duties and complexities that marketplaces need to tackle.
Sure. Well, taking all of that into account then, that's really interesting. But what role do payments play in their client experience then?
So primarily buyers are demanding choice of products, right, and payment methods. So it is difficult if you want to buy internationally to find the right payment method that is locally relevant, and you can choose from that. So providing choice and providing also innovative ways to also have buy now pay later products is really critical for buyers to look for. Sellers are there to, if they see the marketplace as a way to expand their business in different geographies, it's the same approach. They need to have access in a regulatory and, let's say, compliant way into those markets, and making sure that the funds they're collecting from those countries are going to be settled with very fair and transparent costs right to their accounts in their home country. But for both, I think it's important transparency, low fees, and making really the experience feel local, right, where the customer and where buyers sit, but also creating that trusted environment that the marketplace can create.
Sure, some good advice weaved in there as well. But with that come some challenges and some complexities, doesn't there? So what makes financial services, specifically payments on digital marketplaces, complex?
So the primary challenge that marketplaces have is if you work with partners, you need to onboard them, and that goes with the whole compliance KYC process. You need to onboard them to be able to accept payments on their behalf. So that is kind of a regulatory and compliance burden and obstacle for many marketplaces to do, and that's where I'm going to reach out to PSPs and fintechs and banks to help them with. The second part is once you manage those accounts, how can I actually have a front to back streamlined process to be able to split the payments, pay my partners, deduct my merchant, my fees as a marketplace, and making that whole kind of front to bank reconciliation look easy, right? And supporting my treasury workflows. And the last but not least, it's about if you look at the complexities from a technical perspective, so you need to integrate into various systems, backend systems such ERP systems, front-end systems like e-commerce. All of that kind of comes with a challenge that the marketplace, if they do this in the right way, they're providing also a technical layer that can connect to various systems, to their merchants, to their customers, and also within their own organization.
All right, that's interesting. You've highlighted both the challenges and the opportunities there. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to end on?
Yeah, so I would say to wrap this up, right, operating a marketplace is complex, in particular if it comes to moving money and internationally. Those companies who are embracing digital marketplaces, building their ecosystem, they grow faster, they are a lot more innovative, and they have been a lot more resilient during the crisis. So going forward, my advice is to, if you're creating your own marketplace and your platforms, find a set of partners that help you to streamline that process front to back, involving different parts of the organization, from the product to the treasury teams, in order then to create an ecosystem that is also, from a commercial perspective as well as a process perspective, really giving you a competitive edge.
Some very good advice there indeed. Matthaeus, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your insights. It's safe to say watch this space, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen.